Okay, I'm back. It's been a week since I did my last video, mostly because I was trying to assess the materials that I had to put the rest of the cabinet together, and I was displeased with the measurements, but I've since reassessed, cut all the pieces for the upper cabinet. Now I'm doing this from the upstairs of the house, where the cabinet is actually going to be installed. It's going to be installed on this wall up by the ceiling in back of me. There's a reason for this. This is a deep custom cabinet, and the second floor, the access to the second floor is pretty poor. So if I didn't bring this thing up in pieces, I don't think I would get it up here. It's going to be 24-inch deep. Well, by the time it's completed, 24 inches deep and almost 8 feet long. That's a long cabinet, and when you turn this into a box, make it into a cabinet, trying to get it around corners and upstairs and all, it just didn't make any sense. So here I am with the pieces and parts. I actually brought my igloo table up here to work on. It's not the ideal setting to put a cabinet together, but it'll have to do. You know, I've improvised, like I said in one of the last videos. What I'm going to do is I already set it up to save a little time. I of course have the layout of the cabinet. I have the cabinet design in my head and on paper. This is basically going to be 3 sections in this upper cabinet. The center section is going to be reserved. It's an area where underneath it there's going to be a gas range or a gas cooktop, and there's going to be venting coming up through the middle. So I'm leaving that area wide enough so it'll accommodate my venting mechanism. It's going to be a foot I'm going to build in underneath, kind of custom build one. On either side there's going to be flanking cabinets that'll have their own use for storage, and it's going to be up high by the ceiling, so it's going to be bigger things that you want out of the way during the course of the year you don't use every day. Although it will be a step-down cabinet that's going to be half the depth for everyday items that you know probably have doors on it and all that. Well, they'll all have doors on them, or some kind of a consideration for that. Maybe some open shelves on one side or not. I'm not sure yet, but design on the fly. So anyway, I laid the cabinet out, and I've decided where my partition's going to be. There are going to be 2 partitions. Basically, I'm going to build this box with these 2 partitions in between. And I'm going to put it together with screws and a few finish nails. I'll show you shortly how I do that. And it will be very strong. By the time it's all put together and the back is put on and that's all screwed in place, this thing's going to be rigid. I've also taken into consideration the design, you know, the area it's going into and how it's going to be installed. And once it's installed, this thing is going nowhere. You can put just about anything in it. I build different kinds of cabinets different ways. But this is a very simple way to build a cabinet and very effective. And it's not all that fussy. You know, you do want to be fairly precise with the cutting, and I have been. Big deal now is going to be trying to put it together and get everything nice and flush. So, without further ado, I do have some. The way I was going to show you, that's the countersink that I used to. I went along the lines where the partitions are going to be, and I've already countersunk some holes that my screws are going to fit into to join the sections together. This countersink is probably only about $4 or $5. It's well worth the money. Get a nice sharp one. See, I moved my refrigerator out of the way and everything else that used to be on this wall. It was kind of like a chalkboard for me. And I'm going to use this clamp. These quick clamps are good for this, not good for gluing up. And my refrigerator, which I moved out of the way, now becomes a handy work surface. I don't think too many people would tolerate this for very long, but I don't mind. It's all going to work out in the end. All right, this is going to be the top of my cabinet, so I already have a section cut. Oh, I got it backwards already. Already screwing up. No pun intended. I should have stood it the other way. Yeah, because I'm going to put the screws in from this side. So what I'm going to try to do is clamp these sections together before I secure them so that they don't move during the process. I got to do a little squaring up as I go too. This is really tight quarters. But that's why I lost all that weight. Ah. Okay. Already not liking what I'm seeing because this section is about 1/16 inch off. Oh, now that's perfect. If I could just tighten that. And then I want to make sure my sections are going to be running square. They're not. Okay, so I got it pretty doggone good. So it's now square to the top. And well, I think I'm going to use a screw right away. Now I buy screws in large quantities. These are 1 5/8". Use 2-inch for something like this. Be good too. This is what I had. I buy 25-pound containers of these things and put them in different little containers to use. And pardon my back. Let's see. Go in here and draw this together. Ooh, beautiful. Now I want to double check and make sure that we're still square because that screw might have moved things just a little bit. I kind of doubt it, but you never know. Oh, that's beautiful. Alright. I have a magnetic head on my screwdriver bit. Really comes in handy. And you can magnetize these things with a little device you can buy in any little tool store. Instead of fishing around in a container for sharp screws, just stick this head in and come out with a screw, not digging into your fingers. Alright, that clamp is doing its job. See? Pretty cool. Now the clamp has done its job. This panel can't move in relation to the top anymore. I'll put the 4th screw. Okay, now it's kind of self-supporting because it's like a T, which is what I was after. Alright, the second panel is going to form the very center partition, the center of the cabinet. I don't even think I'm going to use my nail gun. I've got these all sanded down, by the way. All this material was cut downstairs and sanded before I installed, because once you go to put it together, once you put it together and you try to finish it, which I'm going to put a clear finish, if there's all kinds of little debris along the edges, it's going to be twice as hard to get at it, if you can even get at it, to sand it off. So I do all that ahead of time. Alright, this is another. Let's see, it's already a 1/16 of an inch off, because this tabletop is not perfect. That's why I talk about having a nice work surface that's as flush as possible. I'll move this down towards the edge of the table. It's a little stronger. Maybe I'll stand a better chance of truing it up. Aha, see? Yep. Okay. Well, my mark's done ahead of time. You don't want to be you don't want to be guessing about this. I'll square this up right on the mark. Or did that one. Okay. That's beautiful. Oops. Oh. Stop hitting it, Tony. Or Garp. That's my official name on this channel, right? Okay, here we go on this one. Pull together like I want it, so I'll back it off. Still not doing it. Should be pushing on the back of this. Oh dear. Something you have to be patient with it. I'm hurrying a little bit because of the video, but eventually you can get it nice and tight. That's the key. Okie mazokie, much better. Now I'll double check the square again now that I put that first screw in. You don't want to skip these little steps. You end up with something cockeyed. Now's the time to adjust and see I could go a little bit. Like a 16th, but still. Okay. Alright. Take this clamp off misery. Sensing that this partition is not square and it's different in a different plane. It's actually not too bad. Okay. Your eye will pick up on discrepancies as you get more experience. Most of the time, if you see something looking a little cockeyed, you better double check it because it could be, and once you get too many of these parts together, it's too late. You know, you don't want to backtrack. Now these are all nice and flush. If they weren't perfect, I can go and sand a little bit to blend everything. Of course, it's going to be a face frame on this cabinet that will hide little discrepancies. You're never going to see these joints anyhow. That's why I'm building it like this. I'm not going to take you through the whole process. I'll come back with the next video showing you the cabinet assembled, but basically this is the bottom. This is going to go on this side. There's going to be two end pieces, obviously. So it's going to be a box with two center dividing partitions. Dividing was that's kind of repetitive, but it's going to be a box with two end caps and two partitions in between, and then there'll be a backing of 1/4 inch birch plywood with a good face, obviously facing inwards. Okay, well, it's a little jumbled, a little rushed, but I think you probably get the idea. I'm going to sign off for now.